Hello and welcome to another processing tutorial. This time we're going to edit up an image of M44, the Beehive Cluster. This is one-shot color data. This is 10-hour integration taken from a Portal 8 city centre, one-shot color camera. So this processing should be fairly straightforward compared to my usual ones, because we don't need to do as much because we're not mixing up different filters and stuff like that. So let's crack on. I'm going to make a clone of that one, just in case we need to go back to it. My data is oversampled, so let's downsample by 2, the equivalent of 2 times bin. That will give us a boost in our signal to noise ratio. I'm going to run image solver next, always a useful thing to do. Everything should be filled in automatically if you use an astro camera, and this will just give embed lots of information into our image. This is useful for future PixInsight processes that we're going to use. What should we do next? Tell you what, let's make this nice and simple. And for okay, so the next thing we need to do is our background extraction to get rid of this gradient. And if you can see, it's lighter on one side, darker on the other. Lots of different methods we can use for this. I'm going to use SETI Astro's automatic DBE. This is super simple. I'm just going to click execute and let that run. And here we should be able to see, we run an unlinked stretch. Here's the background that is removed. And this should look a lot smoother. Yes, okay. You can see we don't have the gradient in the background anymore. So let's rename this one Automatic Dynamic Background Extraction, and then make a clone of that. Alright, making good progress already. Now it's time to run Blur Exterminator. This is going to sharpen our image nicely. The way I like to run Blur Exterminator is to first of all run render PSF image. I like to find out the PSF value, so I'm going to evaluate here. PSF is the point spread function, so it's kind of how blurry the stars are. Alright, there we go. We want to look at the two full width half maximum values. We want to work out what's between the two roughly, so let's say 1.4. Close enough. We need to remember that number 1.4 because when we run Blur Exterminator we need to put 1.4 in the PSF diameter there. 1.4. Now we want to sharpen our stars, and I like to for this star cluster let's give them some halos. Let's boost that up a little bit and then let it run. Right, that's done. So the image is sharper and we've got some little glowing halos around those bright stars as well, which is just an aesthetic feel, but I quite like it for star clusters and things like that. Now we want to run SPCC, which is going to sort out the colour in our image. And one neat little thing I've discovered recently is another SETI Astro script that we're going to run first of all, that's called, where is it? Find my background. And what this is going to do is find a kind of average area of our image that represents the background sky. And that is something that is going to be useful when we run SPCC. Okay, and it's automatically made a little sample there called background. So we've got SPCCs here, all the defaults should be fine, and our region of interest from preview is the background. And we're telling it this so that it can then more effectively neutralize the background. So let's run SPCC. Okie dokie. Let's delete that, and we've got our nice neutralized background there. Now it's time to, let's make a clone of that actually. Let's stretch our image from non-linear to linear. And I'm going to use another SETI Astro one for this, another script, which is statistical stretch. That's the one. And execute. Great, and now our image has been stretched. Next, we're going to remove the stars so we can work on the stars in the background separately, because we're going to do some things like boosting our saturation a bit, and we don't want to boost the saturation of the background. So we're going to ping a clone over there, and StarNet 2 is what I like to use. We're not dealing with linear data, so let's remove the stars from the clone. Give that just a moment. And that's okay, doesn't look too great, but let's go with it. Let's see what happens. So that's a precursor step to screen stars. Star removal. Our star review is this one, M44 ADBE, and our starless view is M44 ADBE clone 2. Click OK, and this should then remove our stars. Super, okay. Now I know we played about with the colours of our stars with SPCC, but I like to boost the saturation of them a little bit. So we're going to use colour saturation. I'm going to boost that right up. Click on the square to run that. Great. And just in case any green managed to stay in there, there's no green in our stars. I don't like green in our stars. So SCNR green, and that will remove any green. Okay, that's our stars. Put that up out of the way. And now we've got our background here. There's a couple of things I want to do. I want to darken it a bit. So let's bring up our curves and just make that a bit darker. Oh, hang on. I closed it instead of applying it, didn't I? Preview. Make that quite a bit darker. Square to apply. And you can see that's a little galaxy there. That's cool. These other blobs are artifacts from the larger stars. And it's a little bit noisy, so let's run some noise exterminator on that. It's just our background, so it doesn't matter if it's too mushy, so let's run that quite high, 0.9. Okay, background is pretty smooth. And let's run that SCNR as well, just in case there's any green in the halos of those stars. Alright, so let's rename that one starless. So we've got stars and we've got starless. Should we put them back together? Script, utilities, screen stars, star replacement. The starless view we just called starless. The stars it's called stars. And then let's click OK on that. And look at this. So that's pretty much done. As ever, you can play about with that more. You can do your curves adjustments. If you want to have greater contrast, you can play about with the saturation, and you can sharpen it up a bit more if you like. Oh, mustn't forget, I always forget this, don't I? Final step, because I downsampled at the beginning, so let's upsample so we get our resolution back. But for now, I'm going to declare that done, and that's sub 10 minutes. Boom, 9 minutes on the nose, more or less, for this processing tutorial. I hope it was useful. Thank you very much.